got off the phone this morning with my superintendent, who is justifiably apoplectic about some of the things that have gone on, the shenanigans that have gone on around this place with regard to the education budget. A budget that in the wee hours of the morning of October 1st, I pleaded with all of you on a very simple issue, the education of our children. So I rise today once again to speak to you on the issue of leading by example. I spoke of how education is the most important factor in an individual's ability to succeed in the new economy, and an educated workforce is the best way to attract the businesses of tomorrow. I told you how the budget that you put together rips apart the fabric of our education system, a system that I'm willing to bet every single one of you made campaign promises to uphold. And I asked, how are you going to compete? How are our kids going to compete with China, India, or even Indiana, for that matter, when you balance the budget on the backs of our kids? Well, I'm sad to say not much has changed in the 19 and a half days since. And it hasn't changed over the past 2 years since the last embarrassing shutdown of government. Nor, in fact, has it changed since I was first elected in November of 2000. The single biggest problem with Lansing, with this legislature, is that politicians think that they come first, and they've lost touch with the people that they represent. The culture of entitlement, the paradigm of protecting our perks, has to end, and it has to end now. Leading by example means sharing in the sacrifice and the pain, like so many families in Michigan who are struggling to get by. I'm therefore calling on my colleagues in both chambers to institute some basic common sense reforms to fix our broken government and to make it serve people instead of special interests and their own personal interests. Cutting funding to our schools is an outrage. Cutting funding to our schools while leaving our own benefits, salaries, and perks intact is the height of hypocrisy. First, join with me in the fight to end taxpayer-funded lifetime health care benefits for legislators. It's an outrage that term-limited legislators still get this benefit, especially when so many Michiganders are without basic health care or services. Second, join me to fight to prorate our pay each and every time our schools are issued a proration letter. If we cut our young people's education, we should cut our pay. Third, join with me to fight to reduce our pay each and every time we miss session. If people don't show up for work, or if they fail to do their duty, they should pay a price. We're no different than everyone else. We should be held to the same standard. And fourth, join with me to fight to require that candidates seeking public office disclose their income and assets. We must do everything we can to shed sunlight on government and make it clear to the people that we have no conflicts of interest. And we will always put our families first, not the special interests. In just a few days, the administration will send proration letters as required by law, telling our beloved students and school districts that the budget we passed last week is a house of cards, that it was built using imaginary revenues and Arthur Anderson-style accounting practices by Senate Republicans. If you're going to prorate our kids, your salary should be prorated. At least our kids are getting their work done. You've only delivered a budget on time 1 out of the last 3 years. If you bother to look outside this chamber, you'll notice that our families are hurting. Schools and students are hurting. Local governments, police, fire, they're hurting too. While all of Michigan is hurting, we should not be protecting our lavish salaries, lifetime health care benefits, and special perks. Michigan needs real reforms and real leadership, and I propose we start right here, right now. I ask that my comments be printed in the Journal.